Hi everyone, I'm Yildiz from Yildiz Readings 5D. We're going to cover your astro forecast, covering all your romance, your career, you name it, we're covering it. Now, we did have an action-packed October, and we did have the full moon in Taurus on October the 31st. Now, I'll be covering each of these within each of your zodiac signs. Please look at your sun, moon, and rising. And if you do want to book a reading, you can go to the link directly below. We're also going to be doing additional reads during the month, and connected in with this, I'm going to be giving you chakra updates and more. Now, we do have this month Jupiter conjunct Pluto, and it's really amping off moving to December. So what I'm preparing to do for you guys is trying to get everything as organized as possible so you guys know what's coming up in your chakras, what's coming up in your charts, so you're well and truly prepared for each transit. Now, we are having Mercury in Scorpio going direct on the 3rd of November, and I think most of us will be relieved by that factor. We're also having Mars and Aries direct on the 14th of November, and then we're going to be having Neptune in Pisces direct on the 29th. So yet again, we will be glad that those planets are going direct. It's not to say we're out of the woods, but most of what's really coming up is very much connected to our health with the Taurus full moon that we had on the 31st, which again, I'll still be making references to it because it's still through the month will be resonating and connecting with your charts. And then we're going to be having a new moon in Scorpio at 23 degrees, which is the critical degrees, and it's on the 15th. But yet again, I will connect them with that. And then last but least, before we get into your actual chart, zodiac by zodiac, we have the full moon in Gemini at 9 degrees on the 30th of November, which is a lunar eclipse. And it is connected to the nodes. So we do currently have the North node in Gemini and the South node in Sagittarius. Now, for each of you, that nodal effect will take on a very different vibration. We're moving towards the energy of Gemini, which is a transformative period, which is connected to 2.5 years. So there are themes that are going to be coming up, and definitely it will be quite pivotal connected to this lunar eclipse in Gemini. Now, it can link back to May when the nodes did shift, where we did have a new moon at 2 degrees on the 22nd of May. So again, we will look at those energies and we'll tap into your charts and tell you how it goes. For those of you that you do want a reading, you can go, as I mentioned, to the link below. Now let's get into your messages. So Gemini, with the moon that we had with the full moon in Taurus, and it was October the 31st, now it was hitting your 12th house. Now Taurus being land, it can be beauty, it's Venus energy. It's also can connect to, again, because for you, it is the energy of the 4th house, which is your routine. Your home, are you wanting to beautify it and things to that degree? If you've been doing things to that degree, moving into November, you pretty much have the axis of Scorpio occurring in that energy. So if there's anything in a routine you need to finalize, you pretty much have a week to do that, and there can be pivotal things that come up during that time moving into this month. And I do believe blue moons are super rare. Now, so with that, it can link back to 40 odd-ish years. So it is quite big and pivotal, and it can be collective energy that's occurring. But with the 12th house, look at what you need to let go of. Are you connected to some furniture may be replaced, things in a routine sense, and looking at them and maybe coming to terms with things. But it can be a purgatory effect, but definitely with the axis of Uranus and Taurus retrograde, making a position linking to it. With the scorpionic energy of the 8th house placement, it can be, again, is this taking me to higher ground? What is my psychology behind this? It can be your finances and getting them in order, so just pay attention to those areas. You're also going to have a lot of psychic downloads, so it's almost like Gaia speaking to you and, showing you something that has changed, and it's like lightning bolt, something at a frequency level, either in the collective or in your own personal life changing, and a shift with that frequency and a tying up of loose ends. With the next moon we have, it is going to be falling in Scorpio. So again, similar energies, and it's at the critical degree point. It's 23 degrees on the 15th of November, and it's a new moon in Scorpio. So with the energy of Scorpio, it's hitting your 6th house, and it's still making a conversational piece, very much linking to your home, your routine, psychology surrounding that area. You know, is work-life balance working? Have you, 6th house is house of hidden enemies, and that can be ourselves sometimes, where we're realizing that some of this work hasn't been completed. Gee, we need to do it. It can be where you're feeling maybe you can't achieve certain targets, and it's psychology surrounding it. Again, subjects linking to this can be coming up. It is a new moon. So if you feel you're bringing in fresh life and fresh energy, it does make sense, because we are having Mercury going direct in your 6th house on the 3rd of November. So much with the conjunction point at the beginning of the month, we're having the Sun in Scorpio conjunct Uranus and Taurus. It's pretty much in that 1 week pocket. It's hard yards. It's looking at things. It's trying to be accountable. Trying to bring everything together. It can be very testing on your nerves, but try and be patient with it, and you will actually rise above the situation. Now, the astrology for your chart is making major conversational pieces, very much with the Sun in Scorpio conjunct Uranus and Taurus, really connected to, again, as I mentioned, light bulb moments. Now, it's really going to highlight a lot of what you're going to need to do in order to get yourself with your hopes, your dreams, your spirituality, your alignment. It can be your food, your health, really bringing things up, to the forefront. So again, because we do have Aries and Chiron retrograde, a lot of us are going to be looking at our diet, our health, the psychology connected to home, and where we're going to move the situation forward. Now, as I mentioned, we are having Mercury in Scorpio going direct on the 3rd. We're also having Mars and Aries direct on the 14th. And much of the first 2 weeks is quite heavy with accountability and responsibility. Sometimes there might be financial reasons why certain things can't be achieved. You might be looking at contracts and the responsibility inside of them. This can be policies, it can be your taxation, it can be the things of a give and take source. If you're partnered and you have children, what can you depend on, what can't you? But it's really like a human audit going on inside your chart. And with the fact that we have so many squaring aspects, we're going to have major conjunction points between Jupiter in Capricorn conjunct Pluto in Capricorn. It is really hitting the 8th house of what do we need to let go of. What is going to work for us moving forward, especially for your zodiac sign, and how do we look at those things? If you had a separation, which I'm getting into the romance section shortly, it's looking at those things and where you are now versus where you wish to be, what you have learnt through that process. But with your work axis and the axis of, really trying to rebuild, where is that bounce back? I do feel it is a quality system you're going through. But deeply through the previous moon energy and the axis of Scorpio, there can be energies where a lot of things are going to come to the forefront. So something that was hidden, you're going to have epiphanies linking to it. If you feel information hasn't been flowing, it's going to be flowing, and you're going to have more energy to achieve your targets and the situations going on in your own personal life and with your circle of friends. But you will be looking about, do you resonate with your career sector? Has it been something on your side or their side? Has it been to the detriment because of what's coming up collectively? Now, the area that potentially there could be some really good pockets is definitely the 8th. We're going to have the Sun in Scorpio trining Neptune and Pisces. So, if you can proceed to continue to do anything that you're physically working on, emotionally, spiritually, you're going to have some clarity into what that direction is. And really there can be some movement in the career sector and what you're working on, and with groups as well. If you feel emotionally you have blockages, which does make sense for all of us, because we do have Aries and Chiron retrograde pretty much until December the 15th, we will have more energy to achieve things by the 14th, but you still may feel that there's still this push-pull energy going on. Now, by the middle of the month moving forward, let's look at that, and then we'll get into all the other beautiful areas that we really need to know what to pay attention to. Let me look. I've moved my charts around, so forgive me. So the 15th is going to have the new moon in Scorpio, 23 degrees, the critical degrees, and it's hitting your 6th house. If you feel you've been showing your best foot forward, if you have learnt lessons, if you are doing everything you need to do, it is going to go in your favor. Trust your hunches during this time. Now, we're also having on the same day Venus in Libra squaring Jupiter in Capricorn. So when it does come to your luck, please don't tell yourself, those conversational pieces of how are you going to achieve it. What it's going to show is what you would need to shift in order to achieve some of those targets. And it's more integration needed. It's more work, which can be frustrating, but at the end of the day, it is going to benefit you. You're also having the energy of your 8th house again with Jupiter in Capricorn and Pluto in Capricorn making a conjunction point of what needs to be let go of. It might be tools, it might be things that you require to be able to achieve things. It could be the finances inside of it, but again, trust your psychic downloads. Now, as we proceed further into the month, we're having the Sun entering Sagittarius, which is hitting your relationship sector. So much will be highlighted to do with the paradigms and how you look at connections, what was versus what is, and where you're going with these areas. We also have Venus entering Scorpio. So with the energy of Venus for you personally, you can be looking at creating balance, what you would need to do to create within that balance in all areas with your marriages, contracts, partnerships. And again, if you are overwhelmed with work and there's too much going on, really honing that in and digging through it is going to alleviate it to give you some time to meditate. I do feel you guys could, to a degree, during this month, second guess yourself. But really try and understand that everything you're pouring your energy into is definitely going to benefit you. On the 24th, we have Mercury in Scorpio trining Neptune and Pisces. Again, the axis of your work, showing up, doing what you need to do. And it doesn't have to be employment. It can be things in life that you're directly working on. Your reputation, the way you are changing as a spiritual being, how people are seeing you, your personality, the way you tackle obstacles and hurdles. It's all of those things. At a karmic level, yes, sometimes we can psychoanalyze ourselves, but at a spiritual level, it is showing that you're moving forward. And you will have a lot of growth in the next 2.5 years because the nodes are hitting your 1st house placement and they are the North Node. So a lot of who you were previously is not who you're going to be after this transit. It's almost like needing to be Play-Doh, where you're remolding and transforming due to occurrences that are occurring both outside of you, as well as inside of you. And by the end of it, you just will look at things so very differently. Then we're having Neptune and Pisces direct on the 29th, and then we're having on the 30th the lunar eclipse in Gemini. Now, it is again hitting your 1st house placement. It does link to Mercury, it does link to socialization, schooling, education. Again, with your 1st house placement is how are you showing up in the world and how are people seeing you? Now, with this, I do feel for you guys, I'm seeing a pocket of 5 days prior and easy after. Now, eclipse energy can last anywhere up to 6 months. We did have the energy of the new moon in Gemini when the nodes shifted in May, and it was at 2 degrees on the 22nd of May. And now we're having that kickoff of that to really show us on a karmic level and a spiritual growth level what we need to change in those areas. As I mentioned, I said I was going to tell you guys the chakra energies that are going to come up. Now, one of the areas that is coming up due to the fact that we have Aries and Chiron retrograde will be heart chakra and higher heart chakra. So you can eat smoothies, you can do guided meditation. If you feel, obviously, if you need checking, check yourself. But from a spiritual point of view, it's strength energy, it's sun energy. But it's also the frequency of you looking at energies in which you're passionate and loving. Plus Aries and Chiron is the wounds linking to it. And with the wounds linking to that area for you, it is very much to do with your social endeavors, how you link in with people. If there was something you did wrong, if there was something you could have changed. Again, do the heart clearing. Try and keep as grounded as possible. And I don't feel it has to be really gnarly and nasty. It's more we are going to have heart chakra activation in that area. We're also having the base chakra due to root chakra, due to the fact we have such heavy Capricorn frequency. So you can utilize obstinine for that frequency or do guided meditation. Now with the Scorpionic aspect, you do have the frequency of, and I keep saying frequency, so forgive me, solar plexus. So again, you can use aquamarine, amethyst, black tourmaline, citrine, and red jasper, and those things can actually help support and balance it. Again, the guided meditation, the clearing of the energies if you feel lethargic, and again, with those two chakras I've mentioned that aren't just the main, they are, heavy ones that are coming through, but we do still have quite a lot of planets retrograde. These areas are going to come up in the collective for us to actually gain momentum and move forward. So we can get scared, and with the solar plexus, it's like, where are we pouring our energy into? It can be overactive or underactive, so check where it is, but be mindful of that. Now, your health for much of the month might be under deep highlight. Again, because we had the energy of the full moon in Taurus, also because we have the energy of Scorpio, it's really hitting your 6th house. And this can be really that hunch energy. Is there a checkup I need to do? Do I need to change my diet? Have I been indulging? Because we did have 2 Venus energies with the moon sign previously, and the energy transfers over. So looking at those things, if you do feel that you need a checkup, have a checkup. If you do feel suddenly that your appetite is changing and you're needing to do things to get you spiritually back on track, there can also be the psychology surrounding the trigger points that we have and what we go to for that connection. Definitely with the chakra balances, they should help ease that situation. And with Mars going direct, you'll find that naturally will shift, where we're not trying to replenish fuel and, to try and get that additional energy that we physically did not have. So in a health sense, yes, if you feel you need a checkup, go and have that done. Looking at diet, looking at health, trying to get that balance back is really going to aid you in this month. Again, do pace yourself, because with your work domain, psychology and things coming up that you're changing, it's looking at those things to transform them. Can you keep doing this? Are there habits and patterns coming up, and what would I need to do to shift that? So looking at it and taking time to invest in yourself is going to be great. Work and money. Okay, now this area, you'll find if there were frustrations, they're going to be highlighted in the first week. Mercury going direct can actually help information come towards you, hunch energy and major decisions that you're wishing to make. It's out with the old, in with the new. This is all a rebirth month. It is a vibration 11, so we are shaking things up, needing to get the yin-yang effect. Mars going direct is masculine frequencies. We do have that inside all of us. We're going to have more balance between the yin and the yang. Both feminine and masculine will have their planets direct, apart from Aries and Chiron, which is collective energy. So looking at it and seeing where you can put your energy into things. If you feel energetically you have done all you can and you do have a lot more responsibility, which is really showing in your chart, understanding it is taking you to that big goal of destiny, and hopes and dreams really by mid-month can be coming through, providing you are paying attention to that. Now, yes, both with the Taurus moon and the energy of the new moon in Scorpio, there can be subject matters to do with bills, tying up loose ends, but you will find by the time we have the eclipse in Gemini, you're really launching yourself for a 2-year transit. You're on the launch pad, so to speak. So you'll find your career sector and money will be coming. Networking by the 3rd week of November is going to be fantastic. Follow your hunch energies. Opportunities can be coming to you. So you may yet surprise yourself. So good luck with that one. Home and family is an interesting area. Now, you guys already bumped off by May. As I mentioned, lots of changes. A lot of who you are and what you want is really changing. Do be super mindful that, because we do have Mars retrograde until the 14th. We also have Aries and Chiron retrograde until December 29th. It's that time frame where, in a womb sense, the first few weeks are going to be trigger worthy. So if you find you're having crosswise, you're having the energy of looking at things differently to your family, a lot of stresses pertaining to maybe upgrades at home, where you want to be, what you want to do. I do feel by the end of the month, You may be looking to travel long distance. You might be looking to, what are your spiritual beliefs? Where do you want to be? But there's going to be such a great deal of clarity by the end of the month. It's going to be well worth it. A lot of your hopes and dreams are really going to be coming through by this point, and I just feel you guys to be super busy. Now, the busyness can be linked to your daily routine, tying up of loose ends, grabbing them together. Also with the axis of you trying to keep grounded inside your mind to do with all the things you need to do. If you need to journal, document. Again, I am doing the Deep Love Romance Read live, so stay tuned for that one. Romance is an interesting area. Now, as I mentioned, you have the axis of the 1st and the 7th house, and this is going to be for 2.5 years due to the nodes. Now, this month, even though I've mentioned a lot of 6th house placement, I do feel for much of this month, you guys, be it you're coupled or single, are going to be assessing what the give and take is in situations. A lot of memories can come back with the higher heart chakra, your passion and your energy. If you're single, this can be a person coming in. If you're coupled, and again, you know, there's 3 different energies I'm picking with you guys. One is those of you who have left a situation, coming to terms with it and having that rebuild effect in your life. The others of you who are single and waiting for energies, it feels as though as Mars goes direct, these situations are going to be coming up. Conversational pieces come up, talking about give and take, looking at where the big picture's going. This can be really union energy as such. I'm also seeing by the last week of the month, it is really high on the frequency of quality, and it's quality over quantity. Really paying attention to what's going on. I do feel the busyness, and I feel for those of you inside of connections really looking at, okay, are we on the same page? Do we see things the same way? Where are we going with this situation? And for those of you that are happy, this can actually be a home related dynamic in your finances and your, you know, the bigger picture of how you're pulling everything together prior to the end of the year. But I am seeing that subjects to do with this, once Venus does enter into Scorpio, it is the connection of a romance, and it's also to do with, okay, am I getting into something, or have I had a belief system and this is what it is? And it's just shifting. It's shifting, but you're looking at the bigger picture. You're wanting to take it to the next level. You might be really feeling quite private inside of connections. And really it may be that you're although it can be deep and spiritual within connections, and it can be very seductress energy, you also can get the frequency that you feel something's off. Something's a little bit off. You'll feel more in your own element by the time we reach the eclipse, although it is hitting your 1st house placement. So keep your fluid up. It can be crown chakra energy. It's also going to be the frequency. Let me double check my chart. It's throat chakra. So again, pay attention to the health inside of all things. Healthy boundaries, healthy give and take, looking over the words, clarifying with what's said, speaking very directly and asking what you want. Providing you can do that, I feel it will be okay. But again, I will channel the messages psychically for each individual inside of the tarot reading separately. November 29, we have Neptune going direct. And it's so funny, I'm looking at the image as I'm channeling these messages, plus looking at the charts. And the rebirth in a frequency, Neptune is going direct on the 29th. Now, you do tend to find that you can have really pivotal dreams, really lucid, sort of like you're stuck in the 4D. When we talk about 4D, it can be channeled energies, and it can be when you're deeply fatigued, which is definitely Mars retrograde, where you can get into that fair-based frequency. Now, Mars in Aries will be going direct, but Aries and Chiron, as I mentioned before, will be there, you know, till further down the track, but it is going to be there for a few years. However, it will be direct, which will be lovely. Now, why I'm mentioning that is your wounds do link to your 11th house, which is unique because much of 2021 is going to be linked to Aquarius, which is wider group energy. It's your friends, it's your clubs, it's your associates, aspirations, it's you inside of those situations. A lot of those roles can be changing, groups and friends. You can have wounds from maybe really working super hard inside of situations and not getting something out of it. and going through that healing perspective. Do pay attention to your dreams during this month. Again, with Scorpio being that it is very, very psychic. If you have a hunch about things, follow it. If you feel that what you're doing isn't taking you to your passion and you're very fixated on it, please, please, please trust yourself, because you guys are going to have an amazing transit over the next 2.5 years. It may in increments not feel that way, but the person you will be at the end of it will be deeply, profoundly transformed. Go easy on yourself moving into the eclipse energy, which I'll talk about shortly. But at the same time, what I am saying is there is linking wounds to it, but the clarity inside of those energies of, have I been standing in my way? Have I been preventing myself that believing I can have the best in all given hopes and dreams in my life? Has it been due to people needing on me, or me not saying no to situations, or me feeling that I can't reach those points because of society or what's happening in the collective? It's asking you to think outside the box, challenge those fear-based frequencies. And I almost suggest and promote, instead of running from something, run into it. It sounds crazy, but and that's not, obviously we run into a fight. That's not what I'm suggesting. But if you're having a challenging vibration that you're directly dealing with, by facing it head on, you tend to really move through it. And then after, you're like, why didn't I do that before? So it's really calling ourselves out in a sense and moving into that frequency, so it's disarming it. It's almost like, you know, something that's boiling inside of us and we're diffusing it, so to speak, so that we know it's there, we've made peace with it, it's part of us, but at the same time, it's not going to prevent us from excelling and achieving any of our hopes and dreams. And I do feel that that's really going to be very beneficial for you by trying to attempt it in that way. Again, I do coaching, so if you're really stuck and not sure what those blockages are, I do coaching in those areas. Into the eclipse energy. Okay, the eclipse is going to be in your first house placement. It's occurring on the 30th of November. It's a lunar eclipse. It's a full moon and at 9 degrees. It is your first house placement. I do want you guys to really meditate during that time. Being a full moon, it can be a purgatory experience. It can link back to the previous energy of, as I mentioned, May, and well beyond that point. Much of this energy, you do look back in astrology, and it was linking to eon years ago. Okay, I'm just not even going to mention a date, because this is the house placement. Moving towards it, there can be throat chakra coming up. There can be health related dynamics. You're looking at healthy boundaries, healthy give and take. Where am I at? It will be a soul upgrade. So it's hitting your natal energy within your zodiac sign. Obviously, a birth chart that you actually calculate will be very separate to this. But you being a Gemini of energy, Sun, Moon, Rising, will have the energy of transformation happening, both in the way you directly relate to people. So I am kind of feeling, again, you need to have a couple of days either side. Document, let go, trust in the process of who you are, what you're going to be, how things are going to be, how people are needing on you. This can be some of the ways you're communicating, socializing, some of the things that maybe you've been doing that can be to the benefit or detriment of you. But that inside you is going to be transforming. There can also be things to do with your education, upskilling, your social activities can be transforming. You might be tying up loose ends surrounding this. You could also be getting ready to move in a different direction. It's definitely one of those transits for you guys with the North Node in your first house placement, where it can almost be like you're writing a story on your life and it just doesn't make sense. And it's because over the next 2 years you will have a lot of changes. At times you may feel a little bit scared. At other times you'll just go with it and you'll feel you're really in alignment with who you are and where you're going, and just trusting that we're on a Ferris wheel of a joyride. And you know, at times, no, it's not as fun, but at other times it can be deeply transformative. Now, collectively, weather patterns a week to 2 weeks in can be hectic, and even because we did have the energy of the full moon in Taurus, it is going to be potentially for the next 2 months that we are going to have, you know, situations coming up that we're looking at, both with schooling, education, socialization, long distance all of those things will be transforming, shifting and changing. Even our pastimes, what we do, whether we're looking at media, needing to actually balance that and, you know, take time to actually have some downtime personally. The people in which we're socializing with and the pastimes can be transforming. But nevertheless, I'm going to leave that with you. I hope this has helped you. Feel free, if you have any questions, to put them in the box below. All your comments, your shares, your subscribes, I deeply, deeply appreciate them. Stay tuned for all the twin flame updates that I'll come to you live with. I'll put an information in the community tab. And I will see you in your Psychic Tarot reading on the other side live.